welcome to the show. You are listening to the Roosic podcast. We are a roots music podcast based out of Nashville, Tennessee, where we talk to the local music scene and beyond.
Today we have Andi Jane. She is a singer-songwriter and performer, bluegrass, jazz, honky-tonker who lives here in Nashville.
Check it out.
And I workshop my songs a lot with my band, you know? Like, there are some people who will have one rehearsal and go into a show, and I'm like, no, we need to, like, really spend the time. But if you're on stage and you're starting to, like, hear all these little things, it takes you out of the moment. And
I've been trying to tell Casey this for so long, and he just will not. He's a one rehearsal type of guy, if even that. And
Well, I think
when all these little things come up, it pulls you out of the zone, you know?
I think for myself too, and Brian, there's great wisdom there, and I'm sure Brian's been right this entire time for all these years. But but I find for myself, because I am such an anal person, and I do like to, I'm sort of a control freak in other facets of life. That music, for whatever reason, is that thing where I can just, as long as I feel like the people that I'm working with are really competent and have the skill set to be able to be creative in the moment.
Right.
I like that play, and but I do find that there, like anything, there's a balance there. You know, you want that structure, whereas everyone feels comfortable that they can stay the course together, but have that freedom to be able to branch out and really kind of try to express yourself in different ways. I think, like anything, I'm sure it is a balance, but do you find that for yourself, because it seems like you do sort of lean more towards that regimented approach with it, how have you found you can strike that balance with allowing people to, you know, like even we just saw today with you guys playing, like finding the room to let musicians kind of be themselves?
Yeah, that was like a pretty important lesson for me when I moved to Nashville, because you hear it in your head a certain way and you want it to be exactly that way. And if you start micromanaging the musicians, they don't feel like they have any ownership over these songs. They don't feel like they are invested. They're just now they're just your puppet, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, and I actually had a friend that was like, "You're just too critical. You're giving too much direction. Like, let us do what we do." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're right."
But that's a hard lesson, because like that falls on deaf ears until it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like you have to be. That's such a hard place to get to realize that, because someone can tell you that all day, right? But you have to get to a place for yourself where you feel comfortable with being able to accept that and realize that, oh, okay, like, I do need to just, to a certain extent, allow the sort of creative freedom to work.
But with anything.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm putting out an album in like a month, and thinking about the artwork, which I am not the visual artist. Like, I was stuck. I'm like, what do I want the cover to look like? I couldn't figure it out. And then finally I saw something. I'm like, that is my inspiration. But I wanted to do it all myself, and I know that I can't. And so finally I was like, okay, I'm freaking out too much. I'm freaking out about the photo shoot. I'm freaking out about the art. I'm freaking out about everything. It's like, I just need to let go. Give it to the graphic designer, gave it to the graphic designer, and he came up with something so beautiful and so lovely. I told him the same thing with my flyer. It's like, here's my mood board for like costume stuff, something like that.
Yeah.
And he nailed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm starting to learn how to let go. Like, I have a little bit of like a control freak in me.
Much the same way.
Yeah.
And I find too, like for myself, and I wonder if this is the same for you, I find that the majority of what I do, besides just the nitty gritty of like songwriting and just being a competent musician, songwriter, etc. So much of that sort of directing aspect is just putting the right people there that you can trust. That you can, okay, whatever decision you make, I have faith it's going to be the right one for that particular instance.
Yeah. And as I've been building my band, seeing people like learn the songs and then create their own soundscape within the songs has really given me that trust in them. Like, I work with such talented musicians. They're so good at what they do. What I could tell them to do would not even come close to what they do naturally.
Yeah.
So, through experience, the many years that I've been here for 8 years now. So, the years that I've been working with bands, like working with musicians, you really start to see that they are really good at what they do if you let them.
Do you find it's hard to like, cause your stuff it's really a cross of a lot of things, there's bluegrass in there, there's like New Orleans jazz in there, there's the honky tonk music in there. Like, do you find it's difficult to get folks that can play in all those different sandboxes, or have you found that the people that you have found here are capable of kind of switching gears pretty quickly?
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if I'm lucky that I've just like stumbled across the ones that are so good at the switching of the gears and melding that all together, or if, Nashville does just have such fantastic musicians and they are very well versed in so many genres. A lot of them have gone to music school and they've studied jazz, they've studied, they've studied classical, they've studied country, like they know it all, so they can put it all together in a way that I couldn't, because I'm not a skilled musician in the way that they are. How
did you get to those different musics in your own life?
Oh, man, sort of just, honestly, I don't know. I sort of don't know the answer to that question. People are always like, is Django Reinhardt like a big influence for you? And I'm like, who? And I'm like, well, he is now. I guess mishmash of all sorts of things, and I've always been kind of theatrical, so I don't know.
That's another thing I want to ask you about too, not to segue too hard right now, but like there is from looking at your stuff and what you do, there's such a level of theatrics with it, which I really love. Like we've had on one of our buddies, Jay Bragg, has been on a couple times. He does this kind of like new vaudeville thing that's very theatrical, and I think it carries kind of the same spirit.
Yeah.
And that's so unique because I think that those theatrics are innate in all music, but it's something else when someone kind of embraces them. Like how did you get to that place with your music where you could make it a show as opposed to just what you do up there in front of people?
Yeah, so I've always loved the stage. I was in musical theater in high school. I was a performance studies major in college, music minor. So I was always on stage performing. Stage performance, big, obviously. Film performance, bad, terrible at that. Like way too much going on here for that. But I didn't really think that that's what I was incorporating. I didn't do it intentionally. But actually I was very influenced by a friend of mine. Her name is Arias. She's a pop artist. And when she first came to town, she was telling me about her show where her bandmate pulled a suitcase on stage and opened it, and she came out of the suitcase to start the show. And I was like, that is a show. You're not just playing the songs, you're putting on a show. And I feel like that was like kind of a turning point for me. And when I write my set lists, I really want it to be a show, and I want it to be different every time. I want there to be medleys, I want there to be an intro. The last show I did a couple days ago, I bought a smoke machine.
Oh, very nice.
I've been saying we need to get one of those for the podcast.
Yeah, let's have some nice like mood smoke in the background.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Of kind of bigger artists out there that people are aware of, is there anyone that you find is sort of comparable to what you want to do as a performer? Are there folks that that you think, okay, that's in the ballpark at least of what I want to be doing theatrically?
Okay, so in the mainstream, like Sierra Farrell is somebody that people will liken me to. We say I'm a cross between Sierra Farrell and Queen, or Dolly Parton and Meatloaf.
I love that. Can we just say I love Meatloaf?
Me
Meatloaf,
too.
God, I love. What a guy.
Yeah, totally.
Those are some good comparisons. That's good. Yeah, it's because you moved here from. I understand. At least my understanding is that you were playing in Chicago quite a bit prior to coming out here, right?
I lived in Chicago. I had a dance rock band at the beginning of my 9 years there. And then when that broke up, I DJ'd for a while.
Pool, right?
Pool, yeah.
Pool, okay.
Good for you.
We do our research on this damn show.
You've been digging for that. I think we have 13 followers on SoundCloud.
So what was that? What was that like? First of all, what was the music scene like there? And then how was that different what was the contrast like once you got here?
Super different. I mean, here is just so entrenched in music. It's just dripping with music everywhere. In Chicago, everybody's doing their different things. And then you have a band. And if you are doing something special, everybody is super excited about it. Mm-hmm. If you're doing something special here, people are like, keep doing what you're doing, kid. You're getting to something. But yeah, so having that dance rock band in Chicago, it was kind of short lived, but people loved us. Like we were, the bass player sang and I sang, and we also got kind of theatrical when I think about it. We would like smash plates into a trash can. Yeah. And just get big and wild. But, yeah, it was a really fun time. And then I quit doing it for a while, and then you kind of forget how good the stage feels. Mm-hmm. So, then I got back on stage singing background vocals for a band in Chicago, and that's when I was like, oh, yeah, like this is the high that I've been chasing. Mm-hmm. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. And then the whole story that got me to Nashville is kind of crazy, but not to derail the conversation.
No. I'm sure we'll get there. Like, mm-hmm. Do you? I find that Nashville is really a place. I mean, there are certainly people who. There's certain people that make their living as musicians working out of Nashville, whether it's working down on Broadway or doing studio session work, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I find that most of the musicians, at least, and a lot of the musicians we're friends with, they use this as a home base, but it's not. Yeah. They're not really playing out of here for, at least that's not how they're making their living. In Chicago, I imagine it's quite different. Is the music scene there pretty vibrant? The folks who are musicians, they're working in Chicago, I imagine.
Yeah, I never got to that level, so I can't really tell you. Mm-hmm. We were definitely playing shows that didn't pay much of anything. Yeah. You know, I'm sure you can get, if we kept going, I think we would have grown quickly and we would have been able to make a living, but you know, we just didn't get to that point. But yeah, I think Nashville it's either you make money on Broadway working. You know, you're playing, but you're working, or you have your band and you travel and you make mm-hmm. your money out there and then come back here.
Yeah. Well, all this is great. This is fantastic. But what I really want to hear about is this snake situation. We were talking before we started rolling. I want to hear because I'm not gonna. I think I could be convinced, Brian. I think I could be convinced to like get a snake. It's going to take a lot of convincing.
They're cool
but
pets.
Yeah,
I've never had one, but I had a friend who had one, and they're cool though. They like hang out with you around your neck. And
do they have like personality? Like, can you tell like one snake from another snake, and just in terms of personality?
I have never known another snake but mine.
But I bet I could.
Personality-wise, but it's the same as when I moved into a friend's house and they had a cat, and I remember she was just a cat for like a month, and then I started to see her cute little personality come out in the way she walked around with her head down, and I'm like, you're a cool creature, like you're something
a cool
else.
Little cat there.
Yeah. And the same thing happened with my snake. At first, he was just a snake, and he hides under a rock, and then he comes out and climbs around, and he looks at you sometimes.
Do you get snake? This is how ignorant I am of owning reptiles. When you get a snake, do you get like baby, like like a puppy? You get a puppy. Do you get like a baby snake, or do you get a full grown snake? How does it work?
I inherited the snake from a friend, full grown, like 3 years old. But a lot of people get a baby snake. When I first decided I wanted a snake, I went to the exotic reptile store, and
so you were searching for this.
I already wanted a snake.
You decided. Okay.
Yes. So when the opportunity arose, I was like, I'll take it.
We're doing it.
I'll take it. But yeah, I held one, and it was just so small, and cute, and sweet. And I didn't realize they only had exotic reptiles. So I thought it was like $59.99. It was $599 for that snake. And I was like,
Damn.
I'm not ready for that.
You're like, yeah, that's a bit of what? How long do snakes live for? I don't even know.
Oh my God.
Don't some of them live like crazy long?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know why. There's something weird about owning a pet that like is gonna outlive you. You know what I mean? It's like if you bought a turtle, like one of those turtles that live for like 200 years. I'd feel weird being like, okay, this thing is gonna outlive me. I don't know why. There's just something like innate in you that's like, I don't know how I feel about this.
It's wild. They can live like in captivity 20 to 30 years.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Good amount of time.
That's a very good amount of time. Like that's a huge commitment that I made. I didn't realize. I'm kind of commitment phobic, and I went hard on that one.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to go in life.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
we had someone on at some point who had a snake too. This isn't
Jack.
Oh yes.
Or no, I don't think he had a
hasn't had a snake. He's big into snakes. He's
Catching snakes in the wild.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I know this has nothing to do with.
There's a word for that. What is it called? Do you remember?
No, I'm not smart enough to remember that shit.
Yeah, there's a word for that.
Yeah, it's catching snakes in the wild. I think it's called just being a dumbass.
What was it? No, there was like a never mind.
With catfish, you're like
there was
noodling.
a verb for that.
Fishing and snaking. I don't know. That's wild. I have no idea, man. Yeah, that's kind of why. That's another thing. I think that there's some personality trait that might with musicians be overlapping with those who want to own snakes. It kind of makes sense. We're like,
because you can leave
you
for
can
a
leave,
month
it's
at a
fine.
time
That's
and not
true,
feed
yeah.
the thing.
Exactly. We're also kind of like the opposite of risk averse. You know what I mean? We're like big risk takers. We're like, let's fucking go. Let's make our let's make our life as hard as possible. So maybe that might be it too. I don't know, but. Yeah, maybe I'm yet to be convinced, but this podcast might get me there. We'll see. Sooner or later, I might.
They're cool.
I might say, you know,
They're
I'm
really
buying. I'm getting a snake.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it. Heck yeah.
I vote yes.
Perfect. Okay, I'll get a petition going, and we'll see who can sign to get me convinced. So once you got to Nashville, like what was the process like to get to kind of get settled? Because you've been here a while now. You got here, it seems like kind of roughly the same time we did. Like, what was the process to sort of find your footing here? Because this place can kind of eat people up and spit them out if you're not careful.
Yeah. And I had kind of a different trajectory getting here. Whereas I was not really playing a lot. I wasn't singing a lot before I came here. I got re-inspired at the end of my time in Chicago and was like, I want to sing for a living. If I can get paid to sing, then I will be happy for the rest of my life. So I was like, I just want to be a backup singer and have a Broadway cover band. And I can do that in Nashville. So I was, keep it simple, you know? So I get here and I start karaokeing all the time at Fran's.
Oh, I miss Fran's. Oh, God.
Yeah. Did you go to the original?
Oh, yeah. I miss Fran's back then.
Me too.
I used to tell people, it reminded me of my grandmother's basement growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't have a a cooler full of, maybe she did, knowing my grandfather. But no, I miss karaoke at Fran's.
Yeah. It was very fun. But I met a fellow who played harmonica, and I had wanted to learn harmonica when I moved here, and I approached him. I was like, hey, I would love to get some harmonica lessons from you sometime. And he's like, okay, well, normally when people ask me that, I tell them no. You know what I'm going to tell you? And I'm like, you're probably going to tell me yes. He's like, I'll tell you yes. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so the two of us became friends and we started playing together. And he had me come over and jam. And at the time I was very basic on the keys. Like I was just like writing songs on the keys. I didn't intend to play them. I just wanted to sing. And he was like, come on over, we're having a jam. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I brought my keys over there and we were jamming. And then we started writing songs together. Like immediately that day we wrote a song together. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And we're like, okay, now we have a band. He's like, you're playing keys in the band. I'm like, no, I should just sing. And he's like, you're playing keys in the band. I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. So that's what got me playing piano, which of course I didn't do here, but that's my main instrument. So started doing that, and then I was in that band. It was called Catfish Seminar for about 4 years, and just really went from super beginnery to working up my chops and feeling like I was writing a lot, singing a lot, playing a lot, and it definitely changed the trajectory from Broadway cover band and backup singer to like, I am an artist. I am an artist. I want to write. I want to lead the band. I want to perform. So
I love that. Yeah, you need those people in life, I think, who push you out of your comfort zone. And sometimes you seek those people out, and other times they just seem to show up. But that's so important. Because we all get to these places through various means with music. But what was, I imagine that this kind of took root, at least as a young person. Like, what was your experience with music as a kid? Like, were you impacted by it then, or did it come later in life?
Yeah, I sang all the time. My mom noticed when I was, I think, like, the first time I sang on stage, I was 4 years old, and it was because I was just dancing my little ass off at this tiny little festival in my tiny little small town, Trilla, Illinois, and the band leader pointed me out, and she was like, "You, girl in the polka dot dress," and I'm like, "Me?" She's like, "Yes, come up to stage." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, okay." And I got up to stage, and she's like, "Would you like to sing a song, little girl?" And I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "What do you want to sing?" And I'm like, and I remember this vividly. This is my first memory. I was like, "Do you know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?" And she turned around to the boys in the band and she said, "I don't know, boys. Do we know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on stage.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you got to get your reps in somehow. That's amazing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's funny how those moments kind of stick in your head as a young person, and they kind of get under your skin in a way. I mean, it's something as simple as that, but that's the holy grail. Those moments are like what make you connect to music. What was the music that, as a young person, really affected you? Besides Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, obviously.
That was the one, man.
Yeah, that was
it.
That's actually all I listened to on repeat.
It's a good tune.
Yeah. So my favorites were, I had a Patsy Cline cassette tape and a Beach Boys cassette tape.
Good choices.
Yeah, totally. And those were my two. So I think that really, for me, describes a lot. Like, those were my main two things that I listened to. Patsy Cline, the soulful, the sweet, the ballads. And then Beach Boys, like, give me the harmonies. Like, give me some weird progressions. Like, do some unexpected things. So those were two of my first influences. My dad had a record collection. I loved John Prine. And I loved Three Dog Night. Were, I think, my favorites in that record collection. So then the songwriting, the kind of like weird, like left field songwriting that John Prine has. And Three Dog Night, just, I feel like they're somewhere in there. I don't know.
Yeah, those are good choices all around.
Yeah.
So you, once you got here, when was the decision made that, okay, I kind of want to focus on the solo artist? I say solo. I mean, obviously you work with a band, but when did you decide, okay, I want to focus more on my stuff and to have my artistry, for lack of a better word, kind of be the focal point?
Well, when I first got here, I moved here at 31, and all of my friends were 21. And by all of my friends, I knew one person when I moved here, and she was around that age. And so they were fresh out of like Belmont and Berkeley. So they, first of all, were very helpful in just giving me the basics and writing a song that I just didn't come here for. I didn't think that that's what I came here for, but you're just so inspired by everything around you. And I was just soaking everything up like a sponge. And so I started and he was like, "You should write every day." And I'm like, "I should write every day." Cool. So I started writing every day. And yeah, like I just really, really felt like Americana songwriting made so much more sense than whatever I was trying to do in Chicago, which is like weirder, indie, something flowy. I never finished my songs. And there's something about the structure, the three chords and the truth that I just really resonated with. So started doing that. And it was when I started the duo band, Catfish Seminar, that we were writing a lot and we were performing and the two of us were singing. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Oh, and we did, with my 21-year-old friends, we did start a cover band called Andi and the Shambles.
Very nice. Everyone needs one cover band in their life. So yeah.
Yeah. We never made it to Broadway. We had some rehearsals and it was...
Didn't quite pan out.
It did not quite pan out. Yeah, it went to shambles. But...
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted.
Do you find that... I think a battle that a lot of people constantly have with themselves as musicians is that sort of, I guess in its most basic form, is that kind of like work-play balance where you get into this inevitably because you love it and because you're compelled by it and it makes you happy. Mm-hmm. And then the more time you invest in the thing, you start to realize quickly that okay, this is my job now. To various degrees, right? This is what I do. And I think it can be hard for people to strike that balance of taking it seriously and putting the time in to really foster it being your job, your career, whilst also enjoying it and finding fulfilling things in it. Has that ever been a struggle for you, or has it been sort of has it been fun the whole time? I guess is kind of a crappy way of asking that.
Yeah, it is a struggle, absolutely, especially with the state of the music industry right now, which is there's, on the one hand, anyone can make it. Mm-hmm. Like, you do not have to be the best of the best to make it, but you have to be super consistent. You have to post on social media all the time. You have to put out videos all the time. You have to have your branding. You have to have your art. You know what fonts you use. Like, there's so much behind the scenes stuff. You have to register in 5 different places to get your royalties, like that stuff is just, it's a lot of work. Yeah. You got to update your website. When was the last time you updated your website, Brian?
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been
exactly.
a while. Yeah.
It's easy to let those things go. And sometimes I feel like I am chasing all of those things. I'm like, I haven't played music in 3 days. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's hard to balance it all, for sure.
It is, yeah.
And it's, I find for a lot of people too, and maybe this is just obviously this is something that I think most musicians go through at some point in life or another, just because it's just sort of built into the cards. Like, there's no real way to avoid it. But some people, I think, struggle with it more than others because, especially I think if you find success earlier on in your life, you can sort of just be set in your ways because that's just the direction that life has taken. And then, 5, 10, however many years down the line, you hit pause and you think, wait, how did I get here? Like, am I enjoying this? However successful you might be monetarily or otherwise, I think it can be hard for people because it is such a, because the way in is so pure for most people. I think the way in is just, I love doing this. I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
But when you write, is that for you where you find the most joy in it, or is it performing?
The two are very close competitors because the writing is something that I can do anytime, and it's, people have asked me, like, how do you find the time to write when you're doing all this other stuff? I'm like, that is my favorite way to procrastinate. If I have something else to do, if I have something else to do, but the piano's right there and I have this song in my head, maybe I'll just get a little bit down. And I always allow myself that. Like, I don't care what I'm supposed to do. I will always allow myself the inspiration and the time to write. But I will say performing is that's the upper echelon. That's what I really want to do all the time, is perform.
That's all. Yeah.
That's where I find the most joy.
I love both of them. I find that the performance is probably it's a higher high, I guess.
Yeah,
but I think that the songwriting kind of keeps me sane, and I'm lucky. I work all day with a piano in the room next to me, so it's like it's easy to procrastinate and just say, okay, I'm gonna sit over here. By procrastinate, I mean procrastinate my job. No, it's easy to sit down. I think also I'm at a point in life where, to me, songwriting is kind of meditative. I'll just sort of sit with a song for a long time, and so it's nice to kind of get those reps in on something that, otherwise, most people, if you're working a normal 9 to 5, you don't get that chance to do that. So I think it's, it's for myself, I feel a lot of fulfillment just because I get to be able to, I've put myself in a situation where, you can have that time to just sit with music and let it filter through you, because again, where I'm at, and I want to know kind of where you're at with this. To me, I can just sit with a song and I don't rush it at this point.
Same.
Do you feel like you're in that place, or
Yes.
is it more regimented? Because I've gone through waves in life, like I'm sure all of us do. But I'm very not regimented at the moment with my songwriting, which is very different from how I've been my whole life until the last few years.
Yeah.
Do you find that that's the way you're going at this point, or is it more structured?
No, that's how I feel like that's how I've always been. Sometimes I have to bring in a little bit of regimentation in order to finish a song. If I'm taking too long on everything, then I'll be like, okay, I need to write a song in 30 minutes. Put on the timer. And it helps you get into that state of mind of making decisions, because sometimes I can just be stuck on a song for a really long time. But I usually have like 3 or 4 songs in the works at any given time, and I'll meditate on it. I'll go away and I'll come back, a week later and be like, oh yes, this is what it needs. And then they all finish at the same time. I'm like, I have 4 new songs, everybody.
That is an experience I've never had in my life. No.
Really?
Can't relate to that one.
What when you are songwriting, have you? Because we were talking about it a little bit earlier as well, that you do some co-writing on the upcoming record, which I also want to talk about.
Yeah.
But what? How have you approached co-writing? Because I think that's a Pandora's box that once it's opened, it can be hard for people to shut that. How is that for you?
So my co-writing experience was really, for the most part, exclusively my duo partner in Catfish Seminar. His name's Craig Anderson. And so the two of us wrote together all the time because we played in a band together. And I have written with some other people, but he and I just had such a great, he was very lyrically driven. He would just write 6 pages of lyrics, and there would be great poetic nuggets in that, but it didn't all rhyme, or it didn't have a good pentameter, it didn't have a good rhythm to it. And that's where I came in. I'm a puzzle master. I love the rhymes. I like the internal rhymes. I'll take this little nugget of an idea and I'll weave it into something that sounds really cool, and then melodies and all that. So, and it was okay that I wasn't super fast at lyrics, because he was.
Yeah.
So when I go into a co-writing room with people, sometimes I feel this pressure to be fast lyrically. And so that kind of makes me shy away from co-writing. But I have had some good co-writes with folks. But the 2 songs on the record that are co-writes were with Craig.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's for a lot of people, it can be, especially when a lot of people come here and I don't think they have much experience with co-writing, and Nashville is such a co-writing heavy city, that it can be a little intimidating for people, I think, if you've never, or you can be like me and just decide, I don't like this. But
but it can be so magical.
Yeah.
It can be so magical. Yeah, because what's so cool about co-writing is you say something that's kind of stupid, and you're scared to say it because it's kind of stupid. But
I'm good at that part. No.
Yeah, but don't shy away and say it. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, that kind of stupid thing made me think of this thing, and it's still kind of stupid. And then that makes you think of this thing, and now we're getting a little bit better. And then it makes them think of this, and then suddenly you have this beautiful, amazing lyric that you wouldn't have gotten to without all these little steps of uncomfortable, not great lyrics. So,
do you find it's in the experience you have had with it? Do you find that it's awkward to sort of let someone into that process?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so.
That's my experience. But I think also I write very slanted. So, my songwriting is sort of not typical in terms of lyric. And so I think for me, it's also, my experience with it has always been, this is, I don't know, are you getting this? You know what I mean?
Your process is slanted, or your lyrics are...
So I exclusively write in character.
Interesting.
And so a lot of times these things change over the course of your life, but where I've been the last 5, 6, 7 years, I exclusively write in character. And so I found that the reason why I've kind of gotten away from the structured approach to songwriting, because, I used to sit down every day. I'd sit down for 10, 15 minutes, just write, throw it all away, just to kind of keep the pipes clean, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I'd really be regimented with how I approach it. And now I find that, the characters kind of show up, and I just sort of sit with them and meditate on them. And you yield less result in the short term, but I find that it's more at this point in life, again, it's more fulfilling in the long term. But that can be very hard when you try to get another personality in the room, because you think, okay, well, it's sort of like Friends, you know what I mean? I've got this guy over here who I'm waiting for the next thing he's going to say. And you can offer something, but that's not what he's going to say. What I mean? And to me, I think a big part of the joy of it is, people are very multifaceted and very complicated, obviously. And for myself, I like the fun of thinking, okay, I have an idea of who this person is in my mind. And then, one day, and a lot of times like that's really the way that I tend to write, is I'll have that person sort of will slowly get constructed and slowly, will slowly solidify in my mind. But there's no melody, there's no lyric, there's nothing. And then one day they say something, and a lot of times, and oftentimes, sometimes it's more, I would say it's actually more often than not, they'll say something and I'll think, okay, I didn't expect that out of you. Like I didn't expect that line, that take, whatever it might be. And when someone else is in the equation, for myself, at least, it kind of takes away from that, because all of this is a purely selfish endeavor. I just like doing this because it keeps me sane and because I enjoy it.
Right.
And to me, it's like writing a novel with someone else. It's like, okay, well, we can play like, what's the game where like you go back and forth. Like I write what's that game called? Goddamn. No. It's kind of like telephone, but it's like, I'll write something and there's a prompt and then you write the next, I feel like an idiot. So it's something like that. No. I wish I could remember what it is. But anyway, I feel like it almost starts to become something like that, as opposed to just sitting down and like, okay, write the novel or whatever.
Yeah. It can be magical, but it can also, like, there are times that I've had an idea and then I co-write it with somebody, and then it was good in the moment, and I'm very good at being like, yes, let's chase that rabbit. That's a cool idea. It's maybe not where I would have gone, but then when the thing is done, you're like, this isn't quite me. Yeah. So then you don't end up ever playing it.
And again, I think sure there's a time and place for that. I think that I think for what Nashville's kind of set up for, which is obviously we produce a lot of country music here, and especially pop country, that world. At least now we have AI, so all these people are irrelevant. But up until this point, if you have a room full of writers, you're going to be able to get some. Your output is going to be greater than if you've got one guy and a guitar, So there's sort of there's just the utility of that I think is sort of undeniable. But and I have had experience where it works, and I find with people that like I really know well, they can kind of they can see where my mind is with it, and they can make something great happen with it. But totally. It's hard. It's hard to give that, to have that sort of trust fall. You know what I mean? To let people do that. Yeah,
it's tough. It's a weird thing. Co-writing.
Yeah, it's. I guess it's like anything. It's you just got to put the time in with it.
You do.
How do you find that your musicianship, as you've gotten better at playing piano, has impacted the songwriting?
Oh, it's definitely expanded what I can do and what I want to do. I feel like I still have a long way to go.
As we all do.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, I will say the one great thing about co-writing is you learn tricks from people.
Yes, absolutely.
Some chord progressions that I would never try, and I'm like, oh, that can go there, and then that expands a whole new world. So I would say that's been more impactful for my songwriting than like the playing actually getting better, because the playing doesn't really come into play in the songwriting at first for me. I'm always pretty basic with my playing when I'm writing. It's like kind of just the pulse, whatever.
Okay.
And then once the song is written, my process is I play it a million times. Like I figure out how I want to play it. I figure out how I want it to sound, and I just hammer it into my body and my mind. So I don't have to do that again. So I don't have to like learn the song ever again.
Yeah.
And then I've got it, and I can get up on stage and play it anywhere at any time.
How long do you, this is going to sound strange, how long do you retain songs for? Because like for me, I find that I've got a lot of songs in my head that I can pull from, but some of them, they're kind of past their expiration date, so to speak, and they go away.
Yeah.
Like, what do you find is the sweet spot for you?
I mean, the ones that are starting to go away were like early Catfish Seminar songs. So those are like, 6, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the ones that I've let go away are like not my favorite songs anyway. Mm-hmm. So, but there was one, actually I was thinking about it today. I was like, man, that one didn't make the record, the Catfish Seminar record. And I'm sad because I've never played it with my new band, but I'm going to bring it back. But it started to die, and I started to forget that it existed. And I was like, that one is a really good one.
That's a great feeling though. I love when you leave songs and then for whatever reason, they kind of call back to you.
Yeah.
And there is something really beautiful about that. It's actually something out of all of the elements of music that that when I think about people who don't have music in their life, mm-hmm. that's the element of music that I almost feel most sorry for people who don't mm-hmm. have that. Is I love, there's Brian's played on records with me that are a decade old now, and I love going, for whatever reason, a song will, I don't even say go back to it, but the song will kind of pop up in your head for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And there's a different angle there. And you think, oh, I can approach this in a way that I couldn't previously.
Yeah.
There's something magical about that. And I think that's probably true of other elements of art.
Yeah.
Not just music, but I love that feeling of being able to realize that like this thing, it's almost this feeling of like this thing is greater than I am.
Yeah.
I just get the ability to experience it in a new way now.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I would say one important thing for me to not let songs hit their expiration date is I have a chronological song list. And at first it wasn't chronological, and then I was like, I need to try to get some semblance of chronology on this. And now I try to date my songs when I write them, like when I write by hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which usually they're written by hand first. Try to date them, but then have that chronological song list and then just pull that up.
Yeah, I do something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a list of every song I know how to play, and then I make it a point to every once in a while, like to find songs on that list I haven't played in forever. Because I that used to happen to me all the time, where you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that song. Wait, how do I play it? What is it that even called? And then it's gone,
Right.
So I try to refresh.
Yeah, I do the same. Yeah, I was singing one today, and I was like, oh, somebody mentioned it, and I was like, what? They're like, the song about I'm not crawling out of my hole today. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I got to revisit that. Actually, I think I finished writing it this morning.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I love leaving a song because you sort of, like you said earlier, you sort of leave certain songs behind throughout your life, mm-hmm. and then again they'll show up, and I like that. Not only do you sort of have your own way in with it, but then it's going to be different, and you're going to approach it like I find that, and this probably comes from the music I love in general, but I love listening to the song, like not forcing yourself on the song, but listening to whatever the song needs to be at that moment.
Yeah.
And that's really what jazz is that kind of in its fullest form. But Yeah, there's something beautiful about that. I
Yeah.
really, really love it. You've got sorry.
I was going to say letting a song breathe is so important. Coming back and being like, oh, I wrote the solo as that progression, but no, it needs to go to the 4, obviously. So
and then of course you do it. Like, how could I do it any other way? You know?
Yeah.
So you have the EP come out in 2024, right?
Yes.
What was that like leading up to getting that done? Because did you have any singles that you put out prior to that, or was that the first big thing you threw out into the world?
Yeah. So the first single that I put out was "Hide the Key," and that was in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leading up to the EP.
Leading up to the EP, and that was basically like my breakup song to Catfish Seminar and that duo ship. So I was like, I feel like that's got to be the first one. So put that single out. It's like, all right, lock it up, hide the key, move on. And then I started I made a couple videos, the Great Peacock Farm and Teardrop Island, recorded those as videos in a studio. And then I recorded the album that's about to come out. And then I recorded 2 more videos in the studio. And as I was working on the album, I was like, this is going to take a while. This is going to take a while. I cannot sit with one piano ballad when I'm making bluegrass music as the only thing on my streaming platforms. So then I took the 2 live videos and took the audio from that and put out the EP.
Oh, okay.
While I was working on the album.
So as a way almost to like kind of warm up to that.
Yes.
That's a smart way to that's a smart way to do it.
Yeah. I wanted to have, the chance to book shows and have something out there. So did that. And then also recorded Cicada Song because it was very pertinent at the time, because it was during the summer of the cicadas, 2024 is when I wrote it. And you can hear the early voice memos. You can hear all the cicadas just droning
really
in the
cool.
back. Yeah. So cool. And then I put it out the next summer because I thought the cicadas were going to come back in the same way because there were more broods, but they didn't hit Nashville, so it wasn't.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, I know. They really let down my release plan.
Man, God, they really fucked that for you. Damn.
Yeah.
What at this point do you find that you have a sort of comfortable sound that's yours, or is it still in motion?
Ooh, I feel like it will always be in motion because I have always had a hard time settling on a sound. So, the Honky Tonk Cabaret is not really bluegrass, but the songs that I wrote first were, and I knew that if I didn't record them and put them out, then they were going to die. So I was like, I have to do that first.
Yeah.
And also because I was a little intimidated by the whole Honky Tonk Cabaret, which is like drums, electric guitar, saxophone, accordion.
That's a lot. That's
keys.
A lot to balance and
it's
to
a lot
juggle.
to balance. Yeah, and I wasn't prepared for that mentally, physically. My nervous system wasn't quite settled yet. So I was like, I'm gonna do bluegrass. Get a lot of session players for that, for the most part. Some players from my band as well, and make these songs that I really want to get out in the world. So I'm doing that first. In the process of doing that, also accidentally recorded an EP that's a little bit different. Now we got clarinet going on.
I love me some clarinet.
Me too.
That's such a great sounding instrument.
Yeah, so that one goes a little more New Orleans jazz. And then after that, the plan is to record the Honky Tonk Cabaret.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to just kind of build and build and build, which is what my shows do anyway, and they are variety. It is the cabaret, like the cabaret, not taking off clothes type of cabaret, but like variety, theatrical. It's never the same thing twice. Expect a spectacle. So
where did the cabaret element come into all this?
Sort of, just kind of on accident. When I first split off from the duo, the Catfish Seminar duo, I started. I wanted to branch off and I wanted to write songs that were different. So I got a little jazzier with it. And I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, but I was doing it. And I started playing a regular gig at Alley Taps.
Okay.
And the people there really enjoyed it. And one day I was like, what is this? Like, what do you guys think the sound is? And somebody was like vaudeville country. Somebody was like country cabaret. and somebody said honky tonk cabaret, and I was like,
There you go.
winner.
Marketing right there.
Yeah.
Marketing.
Yeah, but they were all kind of in the same vein, so that's what people were hearing, and I was like, okay, yeah, I agree.
When you were going in to record the album, what was the process like for that? How did you approach? Because it's one thing to write, a good batch of songs. It's another thing to record a good batch of songs.
Oh yeah.
What was that for you? How did you approach that?
So I wanted it to be as easy as possible because I am intimidated by recording. I'm a stage person, not a studio person. So I booked 3 days at the bomb shelter. They're reel to reel. I got session players, and what I thought I was walking into these 3 days to do was 6 songs. And I get in there, I start talking to Dennis Crouch. He was on bass on the phone, and he's like, 6 songs? He's like, we do 6 songs in a day. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I've already rented the studio, so I will just add more songs. We'll do more songs. So I just kept adding some songs to the list. And yeah, we knocked out about five songs a day. We did 14 songs in those 3 days. I ended up having one more session where we did a couple more songs, but they were really, really fantastic. They were really fast. They just adapt so well. So it was really streamlined and really fun to do. It was like banging it out.
Were you cutting sort of foundational tracks, or were you doing vocals? What was the level of liveness that you were approaching? How did you deal with all that?
Yeah, very much live tracking, which I was excited by because that means less work after the fact. Did not track the vocals for the final cut because I got strep throat 2 days before. Yeah, so and got on antibiotics right away, and so I was fine. And I sang them in the studio in the booth, but they weren't going to be my final take. But yeah, it was guitar, upright bass, mandolin, banjo, fiddle, all at once, and they all did their solos on the fly, which blew my mind because I was like, do we need to do multiple takes for? And every once in a while they'd be like, oh yeah, punch me back in right at that exact spot, and they would fix one thing, which I cannot comprehend the skill level that it takes to do do that.
We need to get Dennis Crouch in here. I've talked about that for a while.
Good,
that'd be a lot of fun to have him in here. Are there other elements of art outside of music that creep into what you do? So are there other elements of art that aren't music that you find impact your songwriting?
Storytelling is big for me. I come from a family of storytellers that could just tell a 30-minute long story sometimes where you were just hanging on every word and everybody's laughing and having a great time. So storytelling, theater, of course. And I'm writing a rock opera right now. Don't expect it to be done anytime soon, but
hold your breath, guys. It's coming.
Yeah, because I don't actually know how to write the screenplay part of it or stage play part of it, but I've got the whole story, got the whole plot line. So that's been something that I've gotten re-excited about because that started a couple years ago, and I just recently reopened the outline, and I'm like, oh.
Exciting.
It's actually kind of good. It's like, I better finish this.
That's awesome. That's all. Yeah, I find that, obviously there's music that I'm incredibly moved by and love, but I find that more than that, most of the things that really compel me are things outside of music. And I'm always curious what that is like for other people. Because, again, people are so multifaceted. We're so complicated that there's so many different elements of inspiration, I think, that come into what we do outside of just what's been on our Spotify Wrapped or whatever, so I'm always curious to know look under the hood and say, why do you do it this way,
Yeah.
It's such a mix of different stuff. Do you have other types of art that you find really move you?
I'm not a movie person. I'm not an art, physical art person. I don't know. I feel boring for saying no to. Okay, for me, what really moves me is nature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so maybe not art as much, but I have a van, and I sometimes, if I'm feeling like I'm too wrapped up in the world, I will just get in the van and I'll go. And I will go, I'll camp somewhere, I will sit out, I'll build a fire, I'll sit and look at the stars. The stars for me is the biggest and the best work of art.
That's awesome.
I'm such a star lover, and I love to just lay and just try to catch shooters.
My van got, not all that long ago, this past year, my van got hit. Someone hit me on Gallatin. So now I've downgraded to a minivan, which, still okay, it's still great, but I miss my van because there's something about just being able to, like, I'm gonna just throw everything in here and go. That's so nice.
So liberating.
Yeah, I think that's again, that might be sort of a through line with a lot of musicians, musician personality. That might be the thing, actually. There's something kind of nice about just thinking, okay, I can pack up everything I need in 15 minutes and be out of here.
Yep.
Which there's downsides to that. There's things that there's parts of life where that's probably not the best. But you know what? Who cares?
I don't have any kids.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't have any cats, dogs. My snake will be fine for a month.
Yeah. So you're fine. And worst comes to worst, you just throw them in the van with you. And you're good. You're fine. You could be like the snake lady, dude.
Oh my God.
You could be performing with like a snake around your neck.
I have been wanting to take the snake to parties. Like, I've been wanting, so he came out at my birthday party. Yeah, I had a friend who had a ball python, and when he first got it, he would bring it to parties in a
Wait, so what kind of snake do you have? Sorry, what kind of snake do you have?
A ball python.
Okay, that is a ball python.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And he would bring the snake in a pillowcase, and he'd be like, "Snake in a bag, snake in a bag." It was the most hilarious thing, and I'm like, one day I'll have a snake that I can bring to parties. But I did bring him out at my birthday party, and it was loud. Like, people were
people were excited. They were, wow.
Well, they were just excited about each other, and just talking.
Because snakes don't vocalize in any way, I imagine, right?
They don't.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. That's kind of, as a musician, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because if you're recording, you got a dog and you're trying to track some demos or something. The dog's barking. You're like, God, why did I get this thing?
Yeah. But he likes music. He likes listening to music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I have the piano is right next to his snake tank. And when I play the piano, you'll see his little head pop out. And he'll just stare at me. Just like stare. He can lock eyes for a long time. It gets awkward for people.
Wow.
That's a little, see, that's maybe in the cons department for me, because that's a little terrifying. That's a little scary.
Oh, but they're little cute faces. Like, he's just so adorable.
How at this point in your life, career, whatever you want to call it, do you ever give yourself kind of like, the 2-year plan, the 5-year plan with music, or is it all just dealing with, okay, how am I going to best approach what life's throwing at me now, or is there kind of a master plan with how you want to go about all this stuff?
I don't have a master plan, but I have realized recently that I should.
Okay.
One of my goals for 2026 is to get better at making goals.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really think that, because it's the law of attraction, whether it is some magical force, or because you are setting it out in front of you and then you can see it. And then if you see it, then you can do it. I have just gone with the flow for so long that I realize, like, okay, I need to figure out, maybe have a show quarterly where we do, 2 to 3 hours of music. And that way we have all of that really rehearsed up, and just a quarterly show here in Nashville, something like that. If I can start making those little plans, now I have something to, okay, now I just need to book the show.
Yeah.
Book the show, book the rehearsals, it all falls into place. So no, that's something I'm working on, though.
Yeah, I think there's probably there's a good balance, I think, with that kind of thing, because you need some kind of direction probably to be pointed, but you also just need to enjoy the ride, I guess. I mean, it's as kind of cliche as that sounds. I was actually just talking about this with a buddy of mine. We grabbed brunch this morning, and we were saying part of it's just being happy to, like, be on the ride, especially when you're in something like music. Yeah,
it just sort of depends if you want to do it for a living or if you're okay with it being more of a hobby. I think you really do have to put the time in to plan if you really want to do it for a living. And I do really want to do it for a living, but I've been approaching it a little too hobby mindset, that I feel like that is going to be a key that's going to help me propel myself forward. Now that I have my first album coming out, now it's not just going with the flow. Now let's make the plan. Let's figure it out.
So I imagine this is the first kind of big album release you've ever dealt with. Are you able to balance out how much you can do on your own versus like what you kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where you put the right people in the right positions to be able to make these things happen? Is that kind of where you're at right now, is kind of finding where that balance is for how much you can do on your own, how much you need to bring people in who have those skill sets to help kind of get that to the next level?
Yes, because at first you just look at everything and you're like, I have to accomplish all of this. And then you start to realize, like, I can't do all of this. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not going to be able to make the flyer. Like, I need to get the right people to play the release show, and let them do what they do best. So yeah, there is a level of, and the mixing and the mastering, like all of that too. Like, that was very stressful for me because I was on a deadline, and I like to let the songs breathe and to have it mixed and tweaked, and then have to like go in and listen to it again that day or the next day and like give more tweaks. That's not how I work.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to give it a little more time. But yeah, you really have to like give a lot to other people and allow them to shine where they shine and do what they do best.
And also, you get to when you're working with an album, getting to the release of the album is only kind of half the equation, because then you have to deal with, okay, now the album's out in the world. What do we do with it? How do we get it out there to people? So I find that with so many musicians, they put so much emphasis and so much time and commitment into the first half, which is totally honorable and understandable. But then you get to the point of putting it out there into the world and there's no plan. And so it's like, okay, you've invested, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You've invested all of this time and energy and passion into creating this thing that you're proud of, which is great. But then nobody hears it. And that I find it can be really, can be jarring for people because you feel like you've invested, and that's something I've certainly learned over the years, because as a younger person, I definitely fell prey to that. It's like, and again, it's hard because at the end of the day, you still get something out of it that you're proud of, right?
Yeah.
Even if 5 people buy the album, you're still, the outcome is still, I've made this thing that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
But I think you learn that, okay, I can't just front load this. I've got to be, if I'm going to put all this time and energy and money into, because God knows this stuff is not cheap. It's so expensive. And we're all broke musicians.
Yeah.
You're investing all of this up front. Okay, let me make sure I've really got the plan set for once this is done, getting it out there to people. And I think that part can be kind of elusive for people, because the first half is kind of, it's more obvious what needs done. Yeah, it's the creation. And we all kind of live, whether it's graphic design or whether it's, writing musicals or whatever, we all kind of live in that world of creativity. And so I think it's more digestible for most people who do this thing.
Yeah.
The second half can be a lot more elusive, because the second half is, it's really marketing. It's really, it's just as complicated and fascinating. I just find the skill set that gets you in the game to be a musician is more often than not as transferable to that second half.
Oh yeah, we didn't study for that. We didn't learn that in music school. Some people did, but I didn't.
But no, but even in music school, I felt that was part of the reason why I majored in music business as well as American roots music. And it's like, in my mind, it's like, I just did that because it's like, I want to play music. So how am I gonna make this work?
Money doing it.
And even in that environment, you're still trying to get as much out of it as you can, but there's no substitute for just doing it.
Right.
I think just doing it is you'll learn more doing that, then you can't in any classroom. And that comes from someone
Yeah.
who teaches all day. I mean, it's just, I think you gotta just be, it's gotta be tactile. It's gotta be like tangible in your hands.
Definitely true.
Right. Well, I did release an album with Catfish Seminar, so I got to have my trial run.
I love that.
Yeah, which was great because we did exactly that. We worked really, really hard on the creation and the lead up to it and had this big show, and we were so excited. And then we didn't promote it. We sold CDs at shows, but other than that, we did not make any return on our investment. And I saw it a different way when I was going into it this time. I'm like, this is my product. Like, I am creating a product.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And there's no reason to create a product if you're not going to put it on the store shelves, if you're not going to market that product and get people to buy it. So, so I'm hoping that I'll do
and
better.
We'll pump this up as much as we can and get it out. But I do think it's just something that that part of it is something that I'm really fascinated by because, you just said it. I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, it is you're creating a product, and I feel like most artists, they hear that and they kind of wince at it for whatever reason. Where it's like, no, you can, the thing that you love and that you're passionate about, and that is completely in no sort of tainted way, can also be something that you can market to people and can pay your bills. Like there's just because you're successful at what you're doing, and what you're doing is allowing you to not have to eat ramen anymore, doesn't mean that you're like selling out. It means that people are interested. The market is interested in what you're doing, and you're doing a good job of pitching to the market. So I wish more people in the music, I wish more creative, interesting people in the music world could kind of see that and realize, okay, there's nothing, as long as I'm not selling out, because that obviously is a thing too. There are people who cross lines creatively that they shouldn't, because they want to make it more marketable. I think that's the trick is, in my mind, at least as someone who is not wildly successful, is being true to the art, being true to the thing that you do. Be true to
the art.
And then finding a way of, okay, you don't need 5 million people to be interested in what you're doing. You need a group of 500 people who are really passionate about what you're doing. I mean, that can keep the lights on, so to speak. So I think kind of gearing it more towards that mindset of being true to what you're doing, but also acknowledging that there's nothing wrong with being successful at what you're doing, you know? Yeah, it's a hard balance to strike for some people, because it can feel like selling out for some people for some reason.
Well, they just need to, that's the thing, is a lot of people, they have a hard time accepting that music is a hobby. And that's a crossroads that a lot of people in Nashville, a lot of people in general, but a lot of people in Nashville, they come to, and they're like, what do I want to do with this? Because it is a hustle to make it your living.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Such a hustle. So, not everybody wants to do that. They want to just make the art, they create the art, they share it with their friends, they share it with their community, and then that's really all they want to do with it. But if they want to be a hobby musician, then that's all you need to do with it. Like, you created it, you made something beautiful, you put it in the world. People are going to love it that hear it. But those of us who want to make it a living,
And he's like, get out of the way. I'm here to make. No, I think that's beautifully said. I think that's really beautiful. And there's nothing, morally, there's nothing wrong with either of those things.
Nothing
I think
wrong
just,
with it.
You got to find why. Some people can be absolutely content just having it be a hobby in your life.
I love those people. They're so great.
And then there's other people who, for whatever reason, they have that drive and just sort of innate need to know, like, I need to feed myself doing this. And so I think it's a part of the battle is just recognizing who you are, because you might think you're one thing and then find that you're another. But
well, I learned something interesting. It's that the people who make it are not the people who are the most talented and skilled. They are the people who can handle not being seen and the discomfort that comes with that for the longest. Because
persistence is a huge part of it. For sure.
That's what we're really banking on with this show.
Because it's rare that somebody just blows up the moment.
And even those overnight successes, they're never overnight successes. They're people who have been, have just been slaving away at that thing for years. And it's
posting TikToks to 200 people,
Exactly. So I do think, if nothing else, one of the things that doing this silly show has, I think, brought us both, all three of us, a lot. But it is a bit of a peek behind the curtain, a curtain that you're already behind if like this is what you do, but it's kind of a peek behind the curtain to see, oh no, like everyone's in the exact same boat, regardless of like where your success level is. Everyone feels the same way about all of this, you know, which is like, I just got to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And there's something really encouraging about that, I think, is because it can seem like such an insurmountable task.
It can. Yeah. And that has definitely been a theme for me. And that's a lot of that is like just being present right where you are, which is the hardest thing in this music industry, because you see where you can be, like, what you can do if only the right people saw, or whatever, if only my TikTok could blow up. But,
if only other people could appreciate me like the way I appreciate me.
But just, making what you have, like doing what you love with what you have the best that you can right here, right now. And that is going to keep you moving forward until you are where you can be. But that's the hard part is being right where you are, for me anyway. If I'll play a show to like, the 5 spot, small little venue, somebody will be like, why aren't you playing stadiums? And I'm like, like, why do you have to say that to me? I want to play a stadium. But you can't just walk into a stadium.
The heart's in the right place. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was so nice having you on, and I'm excited for the record to come. The record sounds awesome. Like I said, we were listening to it earlier, and I'm excited for that to come out. So we'll help kind of get that out there into the world for people. But the stuff sounding great. This is our first trio, guys. This was our first trio on the podcast.
Recordings are going to come out real good.
Yeah, I'm excited. So everyone go listen to that if you haven't already. But thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun. So.
Awesome. I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
That was great. That was so much fun.
Sweet, yeah.